Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we kick off the 23rd Annual Garden State Film Festival from March 27th through March 30th. You can enjoy over 200 incredible films, film-centered events from 14 different countries. These films are across 9 different venues all throughout Asbury Park and Cranford, New Jersey. I am your host, Paige Ryans, and today I am joined with Life in Roosevelt, a tapestry of the Jewish American dream. And we're here with the people behind the making of this awesome film. So, hello, everyone.
Hello. Thank you
Hello.
for having us.
Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Doing good? Okay. Feeling excited?
Yeah, this is really exciting to be a part of the festival, and these ladies have been so much help in us putting this together. So yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So, let's kick it off kind of by just introducing yourselves and your title in the film. So, Jessica, if you want to start us off.
Hi, I'm Jessica Solomon. I am the former executive director and current history co-chair for the Jewish Heritage Museum in Monmouth County in Freehold. It is a beautiful space that we were very fortunate to have grant funding to get this film made today.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And Alana, Gary.
All right,
Okay.
I'll go first. I'll go first, and then I'll introduce Alana. Then she can say. So I founded a company called Gelman Images approximately 36 years ago. We're a full-service photography, video production. We create legacy productions, and we're based in Monmouth County. I've been here since the beginning, and I have a talented staff, one of which includes Alana, and Alana can introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Alana Denenberg, and I served as the editor on this project.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you here to talk about your film. And so just tell us a little bit about Life in Roosevelt, a tapestry of the Jewish American dream.
So this really kind of came out of a passion project for the museum. Roosevelt, New Jersey is a very interesting history. It was originally known as Jersey Homesteads, and it was founded during the New Deal administration. And it's one of the only towns in the United States that has a house of worship only being a synagogue. And so a lot of people came to this area. They were immigrants. They came beforehand as well. And they really started this like American dream for themselves. They were in farming. They were in an industry. They were business owners. They had families. They had a place to live because of this. And all they had to do was pay $500, work on a potato farm, work in a clothing factory, and continue living. It wasn't ultimately very successful because it is very expensive. I think the government said they spent $3.5 million on it, and they were only expecting to spend $200,000. And it was supposed to really be this enclave for people, and it did end up being an enclave, but then it also became an artist community. And it's such a unique history. So in 2023, the Jewish Heritage Museum got a grant from the New Jersey Historical Commission to start working on these oral history projects. And oral histories are interviews from people who have lived in those experiences. It's real life facts. It's very personal for them. And we were able to combine with many people their story and really show how important this industry was for them and the reason why they stayed in New Jersey even way later. And a lot of people who were founders have stayed there. They had families and they always sang the praises of this place. And so it was really important for me to collaborate with someone that loves the community just as much. So Gary and Alana have helped tirelessly hundreds of hours to help make this a reality.
Awesome. Awesome. And
Yes.
go ahead, Gary.
I'll just continue that storyline. So Jessica and the team over there approached us about doing this documentary. And for me, I have family who lived and grew up in Roosevelt. So for me, it was kind of interesting to get a deep dive into a community that I sort of knew about, but didn't know as clearly as I do now. So she mentioned it, I mean, Roosevelt is about 8 minutes from where my office is. My dad probably spent time there when he was younger, but my cousins grew up there, so aunts and uncles. So for me, it was to go in and let's see what we can do to create this story, not only for the community, but the people that were involved with me growing up. So it was interesting. And having worked with the Jewish Heritage Museum of Monmouth County for almost 20 years, since its inception, it was nice to partner with Jessica, with Mrs. Berman, who was my music teacher back 40 years ago, and also Larry Gurman, who's now the president. So for me, it was an exciting opportunity. And to bring Alana in, because Alana joined our firm around this time, it was even more exciting because now I brought someone who wasn't that familiar with this area to learn much more about the Jewish heritage in Monmouth County. So that was wonderful.
Awesome.
And Alana was a vital part of all of this in organization, editing, preparation. So maybe Alana, you want to talk about your involvement?
Yeah, sure. So, like Gary said, I actually had like never heard of Roosevelt before doing this project, so this is a completely new thing for me, and it was also kind of like learning how to do all these things from never experiencing them before. I've never worked on a project of this scale before, so it was a learning process as I was doing it, and as I was, learning how to do this, I was also learning about the town and all the history about it. As a Jewish person, I, never knew about this history that was in this town so close to me. So it was a very interesting and great process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. And what would you say? Kind of each, like the question for each of you guys can answer, but like, what was the filming process like for you? Just kind of going out and just like finding the, because I know we kind of get to hear from different perspectives of people that lived in Roosevelt. So like, what was that process of just kind of like finding those people to be a part of this film?
Jess, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, a lot of it was looking at the research beforehand, finding the families that have an impact, and really highlighting these underrepresented voices. I give all the credit to Alana and Gary for finding the people for the interviews. We had many people come and perform at the museum in the past. So we had Alan Malik, who is a very prominent person in the community. He's part of the Roosevelt Arts Project. He has played piano for the museum for years on end, and he has been there since 1983. So we thought, of course, we'll have him. We got Michael Tickton, the historian of Roosevelt, who was once a board member at the museum, and many others. And like Gary mentioned, a lot of his family did contribute to this, and it's a beautiful story to see.
Yeah. For us, it's really gathering all of these parts of the puzzle, from individuals who were there back in the 40s to those who came in the 80s who are still considered newcomers. But working with Alan and Michael and the rest of the team, Joel, Michelle, it was great hearing everyone's perspective of the same story. And Alana will attest, gathering the images and organizing them and really getting the stories connected with the visuals, even how the buildings were made at a cinder block and cement. And it was a unique story that, we were learning every day during this process. And we were learning about what the culture was like and how it's changed over time, because it went from a Jewish community to then an artistic community. Now they consider it just a community with a tight-knit group of people. We had a showing for a small group of the community not too long ago, and there was like no advertising, but one email went out and there were like 40 people there watching it. So it's interesting how tight the community still is. Mm-hmm. Alana, you want to add to that?
Yeah. So again, with like gathering the materials, we had a small little viewing just for Gary's cousins who were a part of it, just to, see what it was like. And then at the end, his cousin was like, oh, I think I might have a VHS tape of Albert Einstein in the community. And we're like, oh, if you could find that would be fantastic. And she wound up finding it, and it had, video of him, and also had a video of Eleanor Roosevelt talking in the community as well. And so finding these like little things was incredible, and it was just a spur of the moment thing.
Right. What's interesting about that is that I asked not only the Monmouth County Historical Association, I asked the Jewish Museum, I even went out to the Roosevelt Museum in New York, and no one knew about it, but they didn't have this video. So lo and behold, we found in this documentary video that no one else had. It hadn't really been seen in over 40 years. And my cousin Michelle had it in her basement, and we incorporated that into the production. And actually, the Roosevelt Museum in New York has asked for a copy of it because they want it for their archives. We have audio and video of Eleanor Roosevelt speaking at the event in the 60s. So it's quite unique.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things kind of watching the film that stood out to me, was just kind of how it started with Eleanor Roosevelt, and it also ended with the commentary with Eleanor Roosevelt. So I think that was a great added touch to it.
That was Alana's brainchild.
Yeah. Oh, Alana, that was really, really, really great.
Thank you.
So what would you say you're hoping for audiences to get out of watching the film?
I hope they understand that they really get a taste of having an underrepresented community and how much we work together in order for us to thrive. And any group, marginalized group, can look at this and say, we are resilient and we have the right to have our stories told. Museums and all these different institutions to share history are a place for inspiration and hope. And it should really look at that and say, well, this is what happened in the past, and look how much we have grown. And that's something that is so important when it comes to oral history documentaries, or even putting someone's passion out there, is learning from it.
For me, the takeaway is really capturing family and legacy and stories. So many people in our lives have passed and we don't get their story recorded properly. For us, and what the museum is doing is capturing all of these stories, is to get them in their real words, them speaking about their lives. And this was important for me, that we did this, and not only for the community, but this is going to be a production people are going to look at 30, 40, 50 years from now and look back at 2024, 25 and think, wow, what a great place Roosevelt was before and currently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what would you say was your favorite part of this process?
Oh, I think, one, I'm just like a research nerd, so I love to research, but it was interesting to see, since it's so far out, what the government said about it. Personally, we think it's the best thing ever. The government is like, this is the biggest waste of money. No one wants to grow potatoes anymore. No one wants to make a coat. It's not worth it. And these people are saying, no, like, this is our home. We're going to stay here. And they did. I mean, they paid $4,000 to keep their house. Around 20 families are still there that were part of the original crew. And so I think that was really fascinating to see people fight back, me like, no, this is important to me. It may not be for you, but we're going to keep it going. And to see other community members like Anne Bancroft come with Eleanor Roosevelt, I think is so fascinating, because Roosevelt wasn't Roosevelt until after FDR passed away in April 1945. And Eleanor Roosevelt's last public appearance was actually at Roosevelt, looking at the Jacob Landau statue of Roosevelt's bust. And she passed away shortly after. And so kind of having that full circle. And then another thing is Einstein's impact of being this civil rights genius and helping those, Paul Robeson, but also the Jewish community. And he saved the area. It really wasn't going to come to fruition unless he really stood up, and he stood up for the community. And so using your voice, I think, shows like never not be outspoken. Always use your voice, because it does go a long way.
For me, what's interesting is that the mayor mentioned it when I chatted with her, that I believe she said there are about 6 residents that have been there since the beginning, but they haven't, and no one lives in the residence, but they haven't sold it because they're so tied to it. So they own a piece of property in Roosevelt that no one lives in, but they don't want to get rid of it because it has such an important part in their family. So I found that to be interesting too. And also the interviews we did with all 5 individuals, where Joel Richter's crying over talking about growing up in Roosevelt. So it talks a lot about the heart and soul of a community of individuals who came from large cities throughout the region, who came to this little farm. And if you go there today, you'll see it's not that much different. The houses are still there. They're all uniquely different now, but it's still a rural part of New Jersey that you can't imagine the government would even realize was there.
For sure. For sure.
So my favorite part was truly learning about the community of this town. Like Gary said, how his cousin Joel cried at the end because he felt this such strong connection and love for his experience growing up here, and learning how people wouldn't lock their doors. They would just let everyone just come and pass through. They just felt safe in this tight-knit community, and learning that was just so beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you all for sharing. And just, I think that this is a really just incredible and also just informative film, just like lots of information. We could tell a lot of research and a lot of detail went into it. So the editing is also just amazing. I think it all just is a collective just effort of just how much thought and how much information went into this. So you can check out Life in Roosevelt, a tapestry of the Jewish American dream on Sunday, March 30th, at the Jersey Shore Arts Center, Block 34, between 2:30 and 5:15 p.m. Thank you again for joining us today, and thank you for partaking in this conversation. Will you be joining us at the festival this year?
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, we are expected to be there, and we've
Awesome.
signed up and looking forward to it.
There we go. We're looking forward to having you. So we'll see you again in person, and just be sure to grab your tickets at gsff.org/tickets. Join us 23rd Annual Garden State Film Festival, March 27th through the 30th. Congratulations again, and thank you for being here, and we'll see you at the festival.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You as well.
Thank you.